Have you ever asked God, why would you let this happen? Like, why is this happening to me? Maybe you've experienced some form of suffering, whether that's abuse, childhood abuse, neglect, infertility, cancer, unreal deaths in your life. Like everyone is, I don't know, whatever it is that the suffering is for you. Are you wondering what God's part is in that, or if He's the one giving this suffering to you? Welcome to my audio diary where I talk about my thoughts. Join me, Catherine, as I navigate thoughts about life and relationships, dating and God, mental health struggles and motherhood, and all things feminine energy. I firmly believe that those of us that are on this self-help journey are just desperate for wisdom, guidance, direction, just any answers. So I'm happy to share any wisdom that I find along the way, but I'm just more happy that you're here and that we're doing this together. So let's get started. I want to talk a little bit about that today and just kind of some of the perspectives that I've found along the way through my Christian journey, using God as a tool for healing and growing. And I want to talk about His part in suffering. So let's talk about this concept of what it looks like to live in a fallen world, because the world we live in was not part of God's original design. We live in a fallen world. There's light and there is dark. God is the light and evil is the dark. God can't be in the dark, right? Light doesn't exist in the dark. And it just like He can't be there. So they're separate things. This idea of this fallen world is not how God wanted our world. But at the same time, if He created us without free will, then we're not choosing a bond with Him, right? He has then created puppets to love Him. And that's not what He wanted. He wanted us to choose Him. So we do live in a fallen world. And that's just the reality of it. So let's move on. Let's talk about God's character. He's the light. The darkness exists, but it doesn't come from Him. Like that's separate from Him. And that's the spiritual war that He's fighting, good versus evil. He walks with us in our suffering rather than delighting in it. Like it hurts Him. He doesn't want to see us suffer. I think that it's going to be important to talk about the sources of suffering and where they come from. So let's just start there. The brokenness of the world is going to be part of it. We talked a little bit about that. The disease, the natural disasters, infertility, loss, like these kind of parts of the brokenness of the world is just going to affect us. We live in it. It's just the reality. But then we also do endure suffering based on other people's choices. I'm a victim of child abuse. I've been very public about my journey through childhood abuse. That was someone else's choice, right? My suffering was because I had a father who had a hedonistic view of life, who lived in sin, who lived for instant gratification, who gave into his pride, his ego, his anger, all of that, right? That was his brokenness that rippled and then affected people around him. Then this becomes a cycle, a pattern. I could then choose to take that trauma and not choose. I could then have this trauma and inability to be in relationships. Basically, that's what did happen until I sought therapy and God to help me, right? So that's part of it. Other people's choices. Maybe you are with an alcoholic. Maybe they weren't an alcoholic. And then during the relationship developed alcoholism. And now their choices are affecting you and the children. I don't know, right? So other people's choices play a part into suffering. And I do want to, at the end, wrap it up with how God is with us in our suffering and redeems it. And then another form of suffering is our own choices. I know. We do it to ourselves sometimes. Okay, so let's talk about it. Sin disguised as freedom. That's such a big one. That is such a big one. I'm going to use alcohol as an example, or vices, or sex or relationships. Okay, it's disguised as freedom. I can do what I want. I have the freedom to choose if I want to go drink, if I want to do this, if I want to do that. Like I'm free. It feels free until it's not, until it's a monkey on your back and you need that drink and you need that cigarette and you have unhealthy relationships and you don't know how to function without another person, right? Like all of a sudden you're a slave to the thing that made you feel free. I'm free. I can do whatever I want, but you're a slave to it. So are you free? Are you in control? So we can make our own choices, and it's confusing, right? Like, that's why we have to be one with God. Know it, like, be in constant daily communication with God, and understand the Holy Spirit and how it's trying to guide you and just help you to discern. Like, that's important because this stuff is in disguise. I'm like, oh, it's your choice. And some of it, yeah, we know we're choosing the wrong thing. Like, we know that's a bad choice. And other times it's the devil saying, look at this. You're free. It'll be fun. It'll be good. You're going to like it. It's not a big deal. Nobody cares. It's not going to hurt anybody else. Okay. So the devil's lies. Choosing temporary comfort over God's design. That lack of faith, ooh, gosh, that tests me. It really does. It really does. When you want to hold on to the faith of God's promise, that is just blind faith, right? I mean, it's not blind. There's testimonies, there's the Bible, there's things. But you're holding on to faith of something in the future that, I mean, you don't know for sure. It is faith. You have to have faith in God's promise for you. But when you choose temporary comfort, I'm going to use a relationship, for example. You don't want to wait for the person that's going to treat you right because you're afraid to be alone. You would rather settle so you don't have to be alone. And they're probably not even nice. They're probably narcissists, but this is the thing. Let's pretend they are nice. I've had this talk with my friends too. Isn't that the bare minimum? Why is our bar like that low after? Is it because of abuse, or like, what is it that niceness is like, well, gotta settle. Do you have anything in common? Do you have shared values? Do you want the same things? Do you share humor? Like, I don't know. Do you have the same religion? Do you guys want the same amount of children? These things matter. Do they fill you up when you're depleted, when your tank is empty? Like, are they a source of replenishment for you, or are they draining you? So I'm just using relationships as an example of choosing that short-term comfort to settle. Like, they're kind of gaslighty, but like, whatever, I want this, instead of holding out for God's promise. That could be a career. Like, I don't know what it is for you, but sometimes we choose our own comfort over God's design, even if it's not in alignment with His word or what we know to be what He wants for our life. Because it's hard to wait and it's hard to have faith. It is. But that's part of our suffering too, is some of our own choices. So, but the good news is God doesn't waste suffering. He redeems it. He does, in a big way. He can redeem what He didn't desire, healing, restoration, like, it's all possible. I'm going to give examples. I like to believe that God has used my suffering. For example, I endured 20 years of gaslighting, and I have helped thousands of people better understand gaslighting and how to protect themselves from it. Like, that's God. That is so God, right? Like, I went through this horrific thing, this unimaginable thing, for so long, not just parental, relational, all of it, so many forms of abuse, really hard life, okay? I have been mad at God. I have fought with God about this. However, He didn't do that, but He was with me. He kept me strong. He has sent me nonstop resources since to make, while I was in it, He was there. I can reflect back to the low moments of my life growing up where I was wrestling with huge, huge emotions and philosophical thoughts about people at such a young age. And I know God was there with me. Like, at the time, I didn't know, but looking back, I know that He was. He was there with me in my suffering. He was there in my healing. And then He was there to redeem it, to help other people. Like, that is so cool. That is so cool of God. And I've had to accept that if God chose me as that soldier, where another person, that abuse would have been too much for them, and I could handle it and redeem and glorify God's kingdom through it, I'm happy that He chose me to be that soldier. Like, I am. That's a big deal. Other ways that God redeems bad situations, it's like, there's just so many. It's nonstop. You have a near death and then all of a sudden have this great gratitude for life and relationships and people. It's like the pessimism turned to optimism. Whatever it is, like, God can be in it and He can help move it forward in a positive way. When I look at this fallen world and everything in it that is so wrong, I get so overwhelmed. Like, how can we possibly fix this world? The answer is you can't fix the whole world, but you can do your part. If every single one of us did our part to make the world a better place, it'd look different. It would look different. And the reality is, sin has entered our world. It's there. The devil lies and manipulates. The devil's the original narcissist. I know I've said that publicly. If you want to understand the devil, study narcissism. Charming, manipulative, charismatic, two truths and a lie, right? Like, it's kind of true, but I'm just going to tweak it a little bit. And I'm going to also then embarrass you and shame you and make you feel low and small and tear you apart until you are at rock bottom and don't recognize who you are. That's the devil. Protect yourself from him. Don't talk to him. Run away. Talk to God. Send God. You don't even say to the devil, in the name of, don't even talk to him. Don't even talk to him. Run away. All right. So if you've been carrying this belief that God has caused your pain, like, I really hope that this episode helped you. I don't imagine that 1 10-minute episode or whatever this is going to be is going to be what changes your perspective on this. It can take a long time, right? Like, I made peace with one portion of suffering in my life and then, became aware of things that I had suppressed, more abuse that I hadn't recognized. And then I was mad at God. I already knew I was a child of abuse. I already knew that. But then when I dug deeper and found more, I was fighting with him again. Are you kidding me? Right? But at the end of the day, I still come back to the same conclusions. And somebody could have been telling me this stuff while I was in it. I was still mad. I'm not gonna lie. I was still mad, but it's okay. It's okay because God has great grace and forgiveness and love and mercy. And I think he understands. I think he understands. And I think he just wants us all to be home where we don't have to feel this way anymore and live this way. We can just be with him. I hope this helped. Please comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you want to talk about. I'm on this journey with you. We're in it together. Come back next time.